Hey folks, it's Ray with Taste Radio. Right now I'm on a call with Caue Suplicy, who is the co-founder and chairman of Barnana. Caue, how are you?
Doing well. How are you, Ray? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for joining me today. Love your t-shirt, by the way. Is that a picture of a monkey?
That is our little mascot, Nana. Nana the monkey is a spider monkey that lives in the Amazon region. A lot of our products come from the Amazon. So we wanted to create a connection to where the products come from.
So weird. I don't think I've ever noticed that on your packaging. I guess I just don't have a keen eye for these things. But
So the new packaging, you're going to start seeing Nana hanging off our logo and on the back. And it's pretty cool because we partnered with a Brazilian designer and street artist, Speto. And Speto designed our latest packaging as well as Nana. And Speto actually designed the official poster for Earth Day 2021. So it's an incredible design that is going to be available through our website. We are also creating a couple different t-shirts, and all the proceeds of the poster and t-shirts and tote bag will go back to Earth Day and to environmental education and protection of the Amazon in Brazil. We also created a quiz to educate folks on upcycling, and that can be found on earthday.org.
well, I hope that I pass the quiz, or at least get most of the questions right. I'll be very upset if I don't.
I hope I pass the quiz as well. That'll be interesting.
I have a feeling you're going to ace it, Caue. There's another great partnership that I'd want to talk about, and that's one that Barnana entered with an incredible brand called Bitchin' Sauce, a brand whose founders I interviewed a couple episodes back on Taste Radio. This is an amazing alignment, because not only do Barnana products go really, really well with Bitchin' Sauce dips, but the companies are coming together to support newlyweds to support couples whose wedding plans were impacted by the pandemic. And the contest is called Perfect Chip to My Dip. And you're giving a lot of money away to these couples. How did this partnership come together?
We are very excited. And the feedback has been phenomenal. In a couple of days, we had close to 200 couples that already applied. So as you can imagine, a lot of people's plans got disrupted in 2020. And we had a friendship with like Bitchin' Sauce folks. We love their products. And as the name says, is the perfect chip to my dip. So we came up with this crazy idea. What if we could help some of those couples that couldn't get married in 2020 and are going through a hard time? So we're starting to listen to all the stories. There's some great stories and a lot of people applying. So we are very excited, and it's fun. Every time that you talk to a company named Barnana and another one, Bitchin' Sauce, you know something good is going to come out of that, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So so far, very successful, and we are excited. The best part is to hear all those amazing stories and how people got affected, not only financially, but families that couldn't attend. So I think we have plenty of time now to plan ahead and throw someone an incredible wedding. So it's all about changing people's lives and put a smile on their family's face. So very excited for this.
Yeah, well, $40,000 toward a wedding will definitely put a smile on someone's face. Weddings are very expensive. As I don't know, are you married, Caue?
I am engaged, and my fiance asked me if we could apply. I said, no, I'm sorry, we don't qualify.
Well, you're still going to be happy. I'm sure you'll still have Barnana chips and some Bitchin' Sauce dips at the wedding. Maybe you won't. I don't know. But I would if it was my wedding.
Of course. I think the wedding wouldn't be there if it wasn't for us. So I think they will welcome a lot of Bitchin' Sauce and Barnanas.
There you go. You can have them in the wedding bags for the wedding party.
We actually had for like several years, I remember, including celebrities, influential people calling us and asking if they could buy Barnana for the parting bags and like our welcoming bags. So we have been in weddings before, but not as involved as this time.
Yeah, well, I can imagine because they're the perfect snack. Well, all your products are the perfect snacks, and they're all banana based though, and not that that's a bad thing. I love bananas. I eat bananas on a regular basis. I'm sure you do
Most
too.
Americans do. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
you know, Ray, but bananas are the #1 selling item in grocery stores. Not the #1 selling fruits, the #1 selling item. So that's what sells the most in America. People love their bananas. So you're not the only one.
Do you ever get sick of bananas? You know, like whenever I think about this question, I think about that scene in The Princess Bride when Andre the Giant is dunking Inigo Montoya's head back and forth to wake him up off a hangover, and he's just like, "That's enough, that's enough." I can imagine when you get a lot of bananas, it's just like, "That's enough, that's enough."
That's when you launch a new product. So when you're getting sick of the old product, you launch a new one. And it's funny because we have a fair amount of products right now. And sometimes there's one of the SKUs that I don't eat that often. And then I go back to that product and I kind of miss it. I was like, oh, this is really good. I forgot how good that was. So I try to pace myself and take breaks of different products. But no, I'm not sick of bananas. The same way that I'm sure you're not sick of eating your bananas every day. At least I have a lot of different flavors and options and textures. So not sick of them yet.
Well, that's good. That's certainly good, especially for the co-founder of a brand called Barnana. Let's talk about the founding of the company. This was your idea, right? You have two co-founders, but this is essentially your idea, right?
Yes. I grew up eating these dehydrated bananas in Brazil. My dad started dehydrating bananas at home as well as other fruits. So as a kid, my candy was dehydrated bananas and other fruits. And then later on, became a triathlete. And back in the 90s, we didn't have all the nutrition we had for athletes now. So I started eating a lot of those dry bananas as a form of energy on long bike rides and before a swim or a race. So my idea was to bring to the US that product that was so versatile and make them available to Americans. They are taste sweet, but there is no sugar added. So it was a better for you little candy energy bar. And that's how the idea came to be.
So how did you find your co-founders? We've had one of your co-founders on the podcast, Nick Ingersoll, who's the CMO of Barnana. But where did you find them? Were you friends, and did you have to recruit them into the business, or were they sort of willing participants? I hope they were willing participants. I hope you didn't drag them into this.
I didn't know them prior to Barnana. And I think back then, we're talking like 2011, 2012, or even before that. Starting a business we didn't have all these podcasts and great entrepreneurs talking about their story and how they did it. So I had no idea what I was doing. I just realized I need more people to do things that I was not good at or had no time to do it. So end up meeting Nick at a job fair at a university. So that was my strategy. I was going and recruiting interns and people to help me out. So end up.
Wait, he was looking for a job as an intern?
Yes. So
and he's your co-founder and CMO. That's incredible.
Yeah. So he sent me this great email why he want to help. And at this moment that I saw him at the office and the great work he was doing, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I'm trying to hire some firms to help me with design, and they are not as good as this kid. So and I can say that now, this kid, because it was a while ago. He was like super young. And then,
he's definitely a man now. If you see a picture of Nick, he's very manly. He's very masculine.
He changed. He doubled in size in the past 10 years.
He's a big guy.
He's a big guy. It must be all those bananas he's eating. and then Matt, he was working for a friend of mine that I was sharing office with, and then he was always intrigued about what was going on in the banana business. and start helping out. And then one thing led to the other, and he became part of the company. So it was not as much of a plan. It was more like, okay, can do this on my own. Who is willing to help? And those guys are the ones that end up sticking with me, and then believed on the big idea, and want to help me bring that to fruition. There was a lot of other people that joined at the beginning, and for some reason or another end up leaving the company, and they end up sticking with me.
And yeah, that's a common theme, going from part-time worker or intern to full-time professional executive with Barnana. Is that still consistent, or are you, doing a little bit more in terms of how you hire, and has your hiring process evolved?
It did evolve, mainly because when the company grows, you need to hire people with different experience, people that work for bigger companies, understand how operations work. But at the same time, we're still onboarding younger folks off university, interns, because that's a big part of how we started, that we don't want to lose that. So we have a great combination now, having that more seasonal entrepreneur or professional, and for someone that's just starting. I think that is a great balance. Sometimes when you have only people with big company experience, or only people starting or with no experience, it's difficult. I think we found the perfect balance, the perfect chip to my dip kind of thing.
There you go. There you go. Barnana, obviously I'm familiar with the brand. I'm sure a bunch of our listeners are as well. But if there was a person who wasn't, how would you describe Barnana in 10 words or less?
It's funny because that evolves, and I think Barnana, what we do, there is a lot with the environment and a lot with bananas. So we are creating delicious bananas and plantain snacks that help protect the environment. That's a way that I would describe to someone that never tried, and of course that I can keep describing for hours. And there is so many different things. I'm so passionate about this, but yeah, really creating delicious products and while protecting the environment.
A big part of your messaging and positioning is about reducing food waste and upcycling, and that was true back when you launched in 2012. It's true when it's true today in 2021. But 8 years ago, 9 years ago, people didn't care as much about upcycling. At least I don't recall that they were thinking about it as much. Um, but was it a big part of the reason that people were buying your product? Is it currently a big part of the reason that people are buying your product? Or is that just sort of, a secondary benefit, a big one at that, but a secondary benefit?
I think I want to go back to your question. And I think back in 2012 is not that people didn't care about upcycling or food waste. People didn't know about upcycling and food waste, because people care about the environment. They want to protect and always do better. But there's a lot of things that we don't know. So back then, I didn't know that food waste was a problem. I learned about food waste going to the farms and those big containers being exported with green bananas. That's what I saw, bananas being packed to be exported. And if they were not extremely green, they didn't make the cut. They were still green, but they were not green enough. And because of that, they couldn't be exported because they would go bad before getting to the stores. So I saw those perfect green bananas being chucked to the side, and I didn't know what was going on. That's when I learned about food waste, and that was a problem to be solved. So I became very passionate about that, realized that we could make a big difference. And going back to consumers will buy the product because it tastes good. And then they want to support a company that is doing good as well. So I think upcycling is not the purchase driver, but they will keep people coming back, because consumers now, they want to support companies that have a mission, and we have a big mission. We do a lot of good with farmers, reducing food waste, protecting the forests. So not number one driver, but they will retain consumers, and consumers will tell their friends, this is a great company, they have a great product, and they do all these other things. So I would say that even though it's not the purchase driver, it's a big thing that we do that will keep people coming back and telling others about the company.
I assume what you're saying is based on years of research, survey information, focus groups, et cetera, and not just your personal passion. But how did you start to learn about the Barnana customer and what they wanted? How did you learn about what it would take to introduce new consumers to the brand? Because it's very expensive to do that. It's very expensive to launch focus groups, to buy data, to do the kind of marketing you would need to do to, again, introduce a brand that people might not understand at first.
It's interesting because that evolved and changed a lot. And I think a lot of founders will relate to this. When we launched, there was no focus groups. Focus groups were your friends and whoever is next to you that you ask questions and ask them to try the product. So at the beginning, you just follow your gut. And that went on for a very long time. So it was all about what I believed and my passion and what my taste buds were like. And then as the company grows, it changes and the market is more competitive. There's a lot more companies starting. So you need to learn more about who you are, who your consumers are, what are the needs. So we are doing a lot more research now. And to your point, yes, we learn in a focus group that even though that upcycling was not the purchase driver, it contributed to us having a very high net promoter score. For those of you that don't know, a net promoter score is the likelihood of someone buying again and recommending your product. So we have one of the highest in the industry. And I think part of that is because of all the good that we do. And we're always doing more research, talking to more people, trying to understand what they care about and what are other problems that we could solve.
How long was it before you said it took a long time to understand who your consumer was? How long was it before you finally did?
It took a long time to not to understand who our consumer was, but also to do some research to really clarify and to get some data on who the consumer was. Because from the beginning, like I said, we were doing demos ourselves. We were going to events, we were talking to people. So we had a pretty good idea of who our consumers were. But like I think it took 5 to 6 years to really get to a point where we had enough money or had time to run a focus group and do some research. I didn't even know that was a possibility at the beginning. You're so caught up in the day-to-day, and it's hard to plan. So we're definitely in a much better position now with bigger team, more time to do different things.
Honestly, that's kind of surprising to hear, Caue, because you had some pretty prominent investors just 3 years into the launch of the business. You were aligned with Mark Rampolla, the founder of Zico Coconut Water. You got an investment from Boulder Food Group, which is a pretty prominent investment firm in the food and beverage industry, particularly among entrepreneurial brands. I assume they were giving you advice on how to identify the best way to communicate your brand to consumers.
Yeah.
So I guess the question I'm asking is, why did it take so long?
Because the company was still fairly small in a way, but also like we're out there so often and doing so many events that we felt that we had a pretty good idea. And to be honest, once we actually got that focus group and research done, we're not really far off. So we kind of knew who the consumer was. It was just not validated by data, which is totally fine. And I think when investors are investing in a company, they are looking at the bigger picture. They're looking at the people behind. A lot of times it's not just about a product. It's about, does this person has what it takes to take to this to the next level? Are they really passionate enough? And on Mark Rampolla, he being an entrepreneur, he understood that. And either same with BFG. So I guess I said something right, and they believed in me, and that I could make this bigger. And I had big aspirations from the beginning. So I feel very lucky to be where we are today because we came a long way.
Well, going back to data, because I think this is an important point. When we talked last, you had told me that data has become a really critical part of your business in terms of how you think about where to go for retail, distribution, innovation. Um, when was the first time you made a major investment in data? And is it still consistent? Is that kind of spend still consistent in what you do right now?
Absolutely. And again, like for a very long time, we didn't have access to data. Data is expensive. Like the data that we had was um, when someone tried to sell you a report and you ask, oh, can you tell me what's happening here? They give you some freebies. So a lot of the data we had was things like that, or public shared data. And our selling story was all the good that we do, how delicious the product tastes like. But we understand because the market is so competitive now, you need to have more. So I think I would say that was like 3 to 4 years ago when we start getting some data. And of course, started small, just getting some little information, but realized that it was important, and it's part of our selling story now. So when we go to retailers talk about our products, we still talk about our story and the great work that we do, as well as that the product sells well, and how we sell compared to other similar products, or how we sell in different areas of the store. So it's definitely a big part of what we do. Also, we use data to educate ourselves on what should we launch next, what type of flavor should we launch, and things like that. So we also like tracking data on a daily basis to understand how the products are moving, or how a marketing campaign is affecting sales and things like that. So overall, data now is a big part of what we do.
Can you be cost efficient when you're buying data? Is there a way to do it so that it doesn't break the bank?
I mean, there's always creative ways to do it, and you do different things at different stages of the company. Uh, like I said at the beginning, you're trying to get free data or spend the least amount of money as possible. It takes time though to do the digging and like call people and you, but there is. It's just the best way is to really understand what you're looking for, and you don't have to buy all the data. You can buy pieces of the data. So if you have a plan and a specific product or a market that you're looking for, you don't have to buy everything and break the bank. You can be very strategic about how you spend your money. And we still do things like that in a way. Like we're not just buying everything that is available. We're buying what we think is necessary for this stage of the company. So I would say it's always planning ahead and really being mindful of what you ask.
That being said, I imagine that your innovation pipeline might feel a little limited by your primary ingredient. Have there been some things that have been left on the cutting room floor, some things that really never made it to market? I can think of a handful of things: banana milk, banana pudding, etc. But you tell me.
Oh, there's a lot of other products that we could do with bananas that we don't want to are too complicated or don't fit our strategy. I always had this big pipeline of products, but you got to be mindful of when is the right time to launch those products. Do they fit our portfolio? Our followers willing to buy this type of products from us? Those things come from data now, and some focus groups. Will our consumers think that we can venture on this aisle or on these things? Or so you mentioned there's companies doing banana milk, there's companies doing banana ice cream, how they call it, ice cream, and they are great products. We could go that route, but I don't want to get into the frozen aisles right now. I don't want to get into the beverage side. I think it's important to have a little focus on where you are, makes things a lot easier. So that is another great point. Like we could even go milk and ice cream, and I still stick to my name because we could be even bigger than what we are now, and be in different areas of the store, is still branding the bananas and plantains.
Well, it seems to go back to your original point, which is that you're making delicious food that helps the environment. So if you feel like a particular ingredient that you would have to use might not fit in with that mission, I assume you wouldn't use it. Is that still the guiding light when it comes to innovation? Is has to be something that is good for and protects the environment?
Yeah, And this is something that that not only myself but the whole company is very passionate about. And we always trying to educate consumers on either upcycling and food waste, or the work that we do with indigenous communities in the Amazon. And it's something that I'm so proud. We have our plantain chips in all Costco stores across the United States right now. As you can imagine, that is a lot of volume. And all those raw materials are coming from small indigenous farmers in the Amazon, which is incredible. Some of them transport the products in boats, but it's something that is great because they are getting some income for a product that they're already growing for their own consumption. A lot of the product that was not being used was going to waste, and now they are also reducing food waste in their land, but also getting income for that and protecting the environment at the same time. And it's something that we want to talk about, and we want to tell other companies that they should look into. You don't have to have a monocrop, massive farm to be successful and to produce a product that can supply the biggest grocery chain in the country. So we always try to be innovative and think in ways that are in a way outside of the norm. And we're very proud of that. And the more that we talk about, we might inspire someone else to do the same. And I think it's the same way with upcycling. As you mentioned, when we started, no one talked about upcycling because they didn't know about the food waste problem. And I'm very proud to say that Barnana is a founding member of the Upcycled Food Association, with close to 200 members now. So that's 200 companies that started to solve a problem and try to help reduce food waste. And it's pretty cool to be involved in this industry and involved in companies that are giving back and doing better than just selling a product.
Absolutely. Caue, you are Brazilian and you have built an amazing brand here in America. It's an amazing story as an immigrant. It's an amazing story as an American founder. You know, when I think about people building businesses here in the U.S., I can imagine that who you are and where you come from, regardless of whether it has anything to do with your story, definitely has an impact on how people perceive your business and your brand. How is your experience as an immigrant founder and a American business person aligned? Have they aligned?
It's interesting because when I first came to the US, I came as an athlete. I used to be a professional triathlete, so in my mind, I was not an immigrant. I didn't immigrate somewhere to pursue a new life. And looking back, as you mentioned, I'm Brazilian, but like the US, the Brazil was at one point built with immigrants. My family was a family of immigrants from France, from Italy, like everyone else in the US. So to me, those were the immigrants. And then when I came here, I realized that other people that have been here for a little longer than me, because we're all immigrants again, they were seeing me as an immigrant. But I felt that like I was very lucky because I was doing a sport, a elite sport, and talking to people with a more open-minded in a more welcoming area in San Diego at the time. So I never really had any problems, but I feel that like I'm very fortunate, and people were also always intrigued about the fact that I was from Brazil and that I was selling this Brazilian product. So personally have always been very welcome, but I understand and we have a lot of big issues in America with hate crimes against immigrants and immigrant companies not getting funded. So it's difficult. Like people talk about the American dream, and I'm definitely living the American dream, but it's still a very hard time in America, and we are all trying to become better and put our preconceived ideas on the back. And I think we can learn so much from immigrants, either if you're Asian, Black, brown, or doesn't matter the color of your skin. Like, we all bring different experiences, different backgrounds, and I think America is it's better because of that. And somehow, in the past few years, we forgot about that. We forgot that we are all immigrants, and that's the reason why this country is so great. I think there's a lot of consumers that want to support immigrant companies, and they are there to help you. And even grocery stores are starting to have programs to help.
Such a great point and such a great conversation, Caue. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. It's been so great hearing about your background and story. You know what? You can hear a few things here and there, whether it be at a product knowledge event or an article. But speaking with you now, I'm learning so much about you and the business, and it's just been so rewarding and put a smile on my face all afternoon. So thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Ray.